Alright, so you're going to go ahead and download the Winslow zip file from Schoology that was added, and then you should have a start file that looks something like this. Okay, so because there aren't very good images of him, I decided to just give you the best starting file that we can have with this. And you're going to create something similar to this. So we already did most of the labor here, but first thing you're going to do is add a hue saturation just in case there's any bit of color in there. And this one was really hard to work through, so I want to make sure we do it together. After that, you're going to add a color fill. So right here, fill color, if I can find, oh, solid color here. And for this one, it doesn't really matter what color just yet, so do something like that. And then you're going to change this blending mode here to hard mix. And the goal of this is to get you a color that gives you, let me show you this working one, that gives you 4 different shades. So this one I have yellow, green, and then white. So 4 different colors. So when I double click on this right here, I'm going to try to look for something that gives me more colors, right? And this one might be throwing us off. Let me see if it... Oh no. Let me give you the actual solid color here. So C1DF66, C1DF66. So cancel here, double click here, and then I'm going to paste this here. There we go. That way you don't struggle trying to find a color. At the end this won't matter, but I know this gives us those 4 shades of color, so you're going to hit OK. And the next thing you're going to do is add a black and white like this. And then we can go ahead and add that gradient map right here. You're going to double click up here. And this is where we're going to add those that crazy looking gradient. So I'm going to click somewhere here and change this location to 33. Double click on the square here, and you want this to be pure red, so you can just come to this little box right here and enter 255, and that gives us that pure red. So 255 for R and then 0 for these two, and then hit OK. Then we're going to come here, change the location of this one to 67. Double click on this here, and you're going to select pure green. So then I have to put 0 on red, 255 in green, and keep blue at 0, hit OK. Then double click on the white one, and we're going to change it to pure blue. So 0 here, 0 here, and then 255, and hit OK. So now we have the black, red, green, and then blue. So now we can go ahead and start adding these textures. So the first one's going to be the black one. So if you hold shift on your keyboard while you rotate it, it makes sure that it rotates perfectly. I'm going to size this up to about there. Click this check mark. Come back over here. Drag and drop the red texture. Scale it up to fit the entire artboard. You can also hit enter and it'll lock that that change. And I'm actually going to try doing the darker gray. For this one, you can always go back and change it if you want. And then lastly, this light texture here. And I'm going to rotate it this way and size it up. Okay. So hide these top ones next. You're going to double click on the black one first. And we will take the underlying layer, white cursor over here, and move it over to this side. And now it applied it to your dark shade, so we'll hit OK. Turn on the red one, double click anywhere out here, change this drop down to red. Oops, it's the other way. For this one, so about right there, and then hit OK. We're going to move on to this gray here, double click, change it to green. And if you notice with this one, if you go all the way, it loses that color, but if you move it just slightly over to like 236, it'll bring that back. So we'll hit OK. Turn on the light texture, double click, change this to blue. Oops, sorry, take the black over. So this is the one that you can kind of play with to see, but for sure this looks better right here. So this one's going to your highlights, so on and so forth. That I'm going to change this one really quick to this texture here. Just going to resize this to see which one looks better. Double click. This one is green. Oh yeah, this one's much better, so I'll leave that one there. If you like the other one, you'll leave the other one. And for yours, since it is still a little hard to see, I added another gradient map. And then I would stick to some of the pre-made ones. I chose expanded blues and selected this one right here. You can maybe play with how dark this one looks, but that's about the extent of how much, oops, I would have you play with that one. Then you'll hit OK. Once you're done with that, click on this first gradient map, hold Shift, and then left click on the last texture. You're going to lock these layers. And now you can go ahead and kind of select these here, turn on Show Transform Controls, and then you can resize it and reposition it if you want, and find a way, if you can, to add his name up here or on the side. But that's basically it. You're going to do File, Save As, and this is a cleaner design, and let us know this is a person.